Welcome to the 12-hour training. So if you already did the level 1, this will be good because as you know, it's a lot of information. And if you hear it a second time or 100th time, actually, then it sinks in a different way each time. But if you're new to this information, then don't worry. It's a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but it goes in eventually. Maybe the first time it just seems like too much new information, but it will gradually start to make sense. So we'll start with the asana part, which is 1 hour. And I'm going to talk a lot, even more than I usually talk in this sequence, so that you can learn about the pathways. And the best way to learn them really is to feel them in your own body, because that's where they are. And they're real in the sense that they're in your body and it's an experience. So let me turn this on. So let's start with one Om together, just to connect to the infinite, to the purpose, to the unity of all things. May we be guided and protected in our lives, in our practice, and our study of this knowledge. May all beings everywhere benefit from this knowledge and this practice through our bodies and minds. Okay, come to standing. We'll start with the meridian activation. It's a slapping technique to wake up the energy in the surface of the body. That's where the pathways are. They also go deep. We'll start with the front body, stomach pathway. Start by slapping the tops of your feet. Just slap really hard. Feel a stinging sensation in the skin, and then rise up to your shins. Stomach is the entire front body. We'll learn the long lines that run through the body, connecting things. And then come up to your thighs. Slap really hard on the front of your thighs. Stomach has a lot of strong muscles. It's about strength and vitality. And then use your fists like this on the center of the hip crease. So right in the center, right on top of the hip flexor tendon. And then contract your abdominal muscle and hit really hard here. Make your muscle tight and hard, and then you can hit harder. It builds the fire of digestion, the chi of the stomach and spleen, strengthen vitality, immunity, and then slapping the front of your ribs. Still on the front body, stomach pathway, come up to your chest, top of your chest. And then use your fingertips and go behind the collarbones. You can push your shoulders forward a little bit. We're going to use this point a lot. Stomach 12 behind the collarbones. And then rising up your throat with your fingertips, you can go along the sides of the voice box and then into the front of the jaw and up under the eyes. Right under the eyes is where the stomach pathway starts. There's some sinuses there. And then go back down front of your jaw, down your throat. And then behind the collarbones. Now top of the chest, hard. Stomach is the earth element. And then keep going down the whole rib cage to the abdomen. Now hit hard. It also has to do with the intellect, with thinking and worrying. Now a little bit lighter on the front of your hips, thighs, shins, and then tops of the feet. Now second toe, pinch your second toe. That's where the stomach pathway ends. Okay, side body, slapping the sides of your ankles. Go up side of your leg. Side body is gallbladder pathway. And then use your fists here on the side of the thigh, IT band. A lot of tension builds up here. And gallbladder pathway has to do with stress or excess or repressed emotions, even create tension in the muscles along this pathway. Now, side of the hip, right under the hip point above the greater trochanter, you can hit really hard. And the emotion that goes with this pathway is anger, but also frustration, impatience. Okay, now side of the waist, slapping. And then use your knuckles on the sides of the ribs. Side body also relates to solar plexus and the movement of the breath. Spread your ribs apart, create some friction there, get out any stagnant energy. Now, tops of the shoulders. Do both sides. That's gallbladder 21. We learn a lot about that point. And then use your fingertips on the sides of the neck. Go all the way up behind your ears and then up over your ears. Now you're in a jaw muscle here, temporalis. Relax the jaw completely. Relax even the sides of your brain. And come to the temples or the corners of your eyes. And that's where the gallbladder pathway starts. A lot of the pathways start around the eyes. And then go back around your ear, down behind, down the side of your neck, tops of your shoulders. Now, use your knuckles again on your rib cage. Feel in between the ribs, intercostal muscles. Slapping side of waist. And then side of the hip. You can hit pretty hard around the pelvis. And then down the IT band, side of the thigh. And keep going down whole side of leg to the ankle, foot, and then pinch your fourth toe. Fourth toe is where the gallbladder pathway ends. Okay, last one, use your fist on the back of the heel. You can hit hard on the back of the heel. Feel the bone, the whole backside body, urinary bladder pathway, rising up the Achilles tendon now, and then go into the calf muscles. Bladder pathway and back body relates to the nervous system, also to the bones, skeleton, pelvic floor, and then very lightly on the back of the knee, and rising up the hamstring or sciatic nerve. There's a lot of nerves here. And then you can use your fists on the gluteal muscles, all over the gluteal muscles. This pathway relates to the pelvic floor and the root chakra, and the emotion is fear. Starts or hides in the pelvic floor. And then right on the corners of the tailbone, you can find a point there that helps balance the pelvic floor. And the center of the sacrum. So your sacrum is here in the pelvis, like a triangle. You're going to hit right in the center. You don't want to hit it right on your spine too hard. But in the sacrum, you can hit really hard, stimulating many, many points on the back of the sacrum. All these little nerves here help remove stagnation in the pelvic organs, bladder, uterus, prostate. Now separate your hands and go up the sides of your spine along the spinal muscles, lower back. Keep going up to the bottom of the rib cage where the kidneys are. Maybe you can go up even higher. Okay, and then swing your arms up, hit the top of your back. There's points here along the bladder pathway relate to the heart and lungs. And then fingertips rising up the back of your neck to the base of the skull, bladder 10, point that we use often. Now fingernails, if you have any, in the scalp, stimulating the energy there. Come all the way up to the top of your head. And then maybe close your eyes and you can feel the energy rising up or see it like light illuminating the top of the brain. This pathway goes through the brain also, brain, spinal cord, large nerves. And then come to your forehead. Again, you can see the front of the brain lighting up. Now use your index fingers and press on the tear ducts, the inner corners of the eyes. That's where the bladder pathway starts. Okay, now back to your forehead. You can see it. Top of the head. And then go down the back to the base of the skull, back of the neck, top of the back. Now swing your arms up and hit. Maybe you can reach the bottom of the rib cage. On the right side, you have the right kidney is yang energy, fire of the fire water. Left kidney, water, yin energy. And keep going down to the sacrum, right in the center of the sacrum. Hit hard there. And then on the corners of the tailbone, all over the gluteal muscles. Down the hamstrings. The whole back body is one long line. All connected. Keep going all the way down to your heels. And then the little toe. Pinch the little toe. That's where the bladder pathway ends. Okay, come to standing like this, just for 10 seconds. Close your eyes and feel the energy moving through those 3 vertical pathways. Vertical pathways connect heaven to the earth, drawing the energy down. Okay, step your feet together. We're going to stretch those same 3 pathways. Raise your arms, palms together, interlace your fingers, and point your index fingers up. Now squeeze your arms and legs together. Drop your tailbone, abdomen in, chest open. Reach up and bend over to the right. So in this sequence, you don't have to go too deep. You can go as deep as you like. But the idea is more to feel the pathways. Here you can feel the left side body, left side gallbladder pathway. Make sure your chest is open, abdomen in. And then feel from your left ankle up the side of your leg and thigh. Push your hips to the left. Feel the side of your hip, side of your waist, left side ribs. Inhaling and exhaling all the way. Stretch your arms even straighter to open side armpit. And relax your neck, face, and jaw. Left eye, left ear. Come down and then come up. Now squeeze everything in. Get more narrow, get taller, reach up and over to the left. So these pathways are symmetrical. Gallbladder is on both sides. Even though the gallbladder organ is only on the right, the pathway is on the left and right same. Press your feet down, reach up and over. And feel right side from your ankle, up the side of your leg, side of your thigh. Push your hips to the right, feel side hip opening. Keep your abdomen in, chest open. Now side of the waist, ribs. Breathe into your right ribs, in and out, all the way. Stretch your arms even straighter to open side armpit. And then relax your neck, face, jaw, right eye, right ear. Pathway goes from your ankle to your eye, side body, and then come up. And we'll stretch the front body. Okay, seal the base of your palms together. Squeeze your heels together. Squeeze your legs and butt. Push your hips forward. And then push your chest up. Chin up. Look at your hands and relax your throat. Keep your legs extremely strong. Hips forward, chest up, reach back. Look back with your eyes. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. The strength of the body helps open the stomach pathway, so squeeze your legs and butt more. And feel from the tops of your ankles, up the front of your legs, thighs, front of your hips opening, front of your abdomen, front of your rib cage, chest, throat, face to your eyes, ankles to your eyes, stomach pathway. The breath moves the energy. Now lift your chest, come up. And fold forward, bend your knees. As you bend your knees, then you can place your abdomen on your thighs all the way, folding your body in half. Armpits on your knees. Put your face on your shins. Release the back of your neck. You can hold behind your legs, whatever you like. But bring your chin a little bit towards your chest to open the base of the skull. And if you can, push your face into your shins. Don't straighten your legs yet. Lift your tailbone more. Spread your sit bones so you open the
pelvic floor, root chakra. And then maybe pull with your hands. Pull your head towards the floor as you lift your tailbone up. Stretch your spine and spinal cord. And then press your feet into the floor to lift your seat a little bit higher. Feel the stretch of the entire backside body. Back of the legs, spine. Reach your arms out and come all the way up to the top. And then step your feet hip width apart. Open your arms like this, wide apart, palms facing up. Relax your shoulders down your back, arms weightless. And then reach through your thumbs. This is a long stretch. We're doing the upper body meridians now, 6 horizontal and 6 vertical. Stretch so much through your thumbs that you feel stretch in the thumb. And then breathe into the top of your chest, into your collarbones. Allow the inhales to intensify the stretch through your thumbs. These are fascial stretches. You're stretching the whole pathway, maybe connective tissue, some nerves stretching. Lung relates to throat chakra, sadness, liberation, purification. Now release your left hand down. Turn your right palm down and point your right index finger a little to the back corner. Turn your face all the way to the left so your chin is over your left shoulder. And then maybe bring your chin towards your left shoulder. But don't lean over. Don't twist your body. And don't raise your shoulder. Just stretch horizontally from your right index finger across the front of your arm and shoulder, throat and face to your left nostril. Keep breathing into the top of the chest. The lungs come all the way up to your throat. This is also throat chakra. You can feel that. Purification, letting go. And then release. Other side. Left palm down. Point your index finger a little to the back corner. Turn your face all the way to the right. Chin over your right shoulder and then stretch your chin down towards your right shoulder, but don't lean over. Keep reaching even more through your left index finger and feel that stretch across the front of your biceps, shoulder, anterior deltoid, and these neck, throat muscles across your face to your right nostril. Just make the line longer and then move the energy with the breath. We create the pathways by moving the body in these positions, putting strain in uncertain direction. But the breath is what moves the energy. And then release. Now, pericardium stretch. Push out through the center of your palm. Pull your fingers back a little bit towards your face. Let your shoulders go all the way down your back to widen your chest even more. And you might feel a stretch in your palm and your forearm, maybe all the way up into your chest. Pericardium is the tissue around the heart protector. So as you inhale, breathe all around the heart. Create space around the heart. Allow the heart to expand the heart always wants to expand. The pericardium can limit it. Keep pressing out. Imagine you're pressing not just from your shoulders, but from the sides of your heart. You can use the exhale here. As you exhale, feel the diaphragm move upward and the heart also moves upward. As you exhale, press wider. Now release. Triple heater stretch. Going to reach palms forward. Reach your ring fingers towards your heels. Use that to pull your shoulder blades down your back, expanding the top of your chest, and then bring your chin down. Keep reaching through your ring fingers. Feel the stretch on the back of your neck. And then bring your chin towards your left armpit. And keep your chin down. Look down at your left armpit. And then reach through your right ring finger even more. So you feel a stretch from your right ring finger up across the top of your right shoulder, side of your neck to your right ear. Keep breathing all around the heart into the diaphragm. Triple heater has to do with our defensive energy, outer defensive energy. See if you can release that for a moment. And then bring your chin to the center, chin to your right armpit.
Looking down at your right armpit, reach through your left ring finger. Feel the line of tension that is this pathway from your left ring finger up across the top of your left shoulder, side of your neck, into your left ear. Chin down, keep breathing. This is related to heart chakra. Now release. Okay, last arm stretch. Reach out through all of your fingers like this, palms facing forward. And begin to feel your armpits. Feel the deepest part of your armpits getting even deeper as your shoulders go down your back. The heart energy starts inside the heart in a tiny little point and deep inside the heart, in the right side of the heart, center of chest. You close your eyes and connect to that place. Heart is wisdom, compassion. Now turn your left thumb down, twisting your whole shoulder. Reach that hand far up your back. Okay. Stretch your right arm straight up, right elbow forward. And then if you can, connect your hands. You can also drop anything like a sock or a towel down your back and grab it with your left. And then work to open your right armpit. Right side armpit, heart pathway. You can get your elbow behind your head and then you can use your head to push your arm back. But most importantly, concentrate in the heart, in that infinitely small point in the right side of the heart where life is generated. And then release, reach out through all of your fingers, again deepening the armpits. Now turn your right thumb down, rotating your whole shoulder in that direction. Reach your right hand far up your back. Stretch your left arm straight up, left elbow forward, and then connect. If possible, or use your left hand, drop down your towel, or just put your hands behind you like this. Stretch open your left armpit, concentrate there. Maybe you can feel the energy moving from the heart out through the left armpit and down into the little finger. Our concentration is our most powerful medicine. Wherever you put your mind is where the energy goes, the healing energy goes. And the breath is also a powerful tool for healing. Now release. Okay, come to standing. If you're not at the front of your mat, we'll do one sun salutation. Moving with the breath. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Reach up and reach back, look back. Now exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees a little bit, release your head down. Inhale, lengthen your spine, look forward. Exhale, step back to plank and lower knees, chest, chin to the floor. Now cobra, inhale. Push your hips down, push your chest up, look up, beautiful. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here. Keep your knees bent and lift your tailbone more. Lift and spread your sit bones. Relax your entire spine. Relax your neck. Head heavy. Spread your fingers wide apart. Press through all of your knuckles. Spread your toes. Activating fingers and toes. That's where the pathways begin and end. They also extend deep into the organs. Deep into the unconscious parts. Begin to deepen your breath. As you inhale, draw energy or prana or light into the whole body. Imagine your breath moves energy to your fingers, toes, face, to your organs. As you exhale, release all the air out and feel the diaphragm move upward towards the heart. As you exhale, relax all the organs. Now raise your right leg, stretch straight back through your right toes. Reach through the right side body. Feel the strength of the right side. Feel your right shoulder, right hip. And then go a little bit deeper. Go feel the right lung expanding to support right shoulder, shoulder blade.
Feel the right side ascending, large intestine, support leg and hip. Feel the right kidney, liver and gallbladder under the rib cage, right side. And then release. Our emotions and our motivations are rising from this deep unconscious place. Raise your left leg and we can connect to it. Stretch straight back through your left toes, strengthen left side body. Feel your left shoulder and hip. And then your left lung, deep. Expanding left lung to support left shoulder and shoulder blade. The descending large intestine on the left side supports leg and hip. The left kidney. Also, stomach, spleen, pancreas under the rib cage. And of course the heart, also more on the left side. Asymmetries deep inside. And then release. Look forward, exhale. Inhale, step or jump. And then step your feet hip width apart. And just stay here in Uttanasana. Then grab the back of your heels. So we're moving right into the meridian postures, starting with the bladder and kidney meridian, root chakra. So there's some points on the back. Maybe you guys know these, some of you. This is a bladder meridian here. And you can sink deep into this connective tissue. So it's like bone and skin, but in between the skin and bone is a connective tissue. And that's a very intelligent part of the body where the pathways are. So you can press. You don't have to know where the points are. You can sort of find them. Just wherever you feel it, see what happens. Right under the ankle bone is a really powerful point. A little hole there. Ladder 62. You can also at the same time press on the inner heel bone, and this is the kidney pathway. Along here, you can press and find some tender points there. So as you work on those points, notice if it helps to open the hamstrings or the spine, the whole back body. This pathway starts in the tear ducts and it goes up over the top of the head to the base of the skull. It passes down the whole spine, passing every vertebrae to the sacrum, tailbone, sit bones, down the back of the legs and knees, all the way down to where you're pressing on the outer ankle, heel. And it goes into the little toe. Another point you can work on here is bladder 10. So you can take your thumbs and press deep into the base of the skull. It's pretty close to the center, not way out here. Almost in the middle, there's two ridges of muscle there. You can dig your thumbs in and wrap your fingers around your head. You can just press straight in or make little tiny circles there. Try to relax whatever you feel. And this point is really good for headaches and neck tension, but it also opens the entire spine. So even if you have lower back pain, this can help with lower back pain. So it relaxes the pathway. Okay, release, come up. And then come to standing. We'll do one for the kidney, standing on the left foot. Pick up your right foot and just press deep into the sole of your right foot. You can keep your left knee bent. It's not that important. For this purpose, we're trying to massage the sole of the foot. The point in the sole of the foot is the first point on the kidney pathway called gushing spring. Kidney 1. Keep pressing there. And this point helps open the hamstring. Now try to press out, maybe straighten both legs. Keep pressing into the point. You can press pretty hard on the feet, and it helps. Feet are tough. So now open your leg out to the side. So the kidney pathway starts there on the sole of the foot, and it rises up the innermost part of the calf, innermost thigh, almost on the hamstring, and it goes into the pelvic floor, root chakra. And then it emerges just above the pubic bone and rises up to the collarbones. So maybe you can feel that in your standing leg also, from the sole of the foot up to your collarbones. This kidney. Now come back to the front and raise your leg a little bit higher if you like. Stretch the hamstring a little bit more. And then release. Good. Now stand on your right and pick up your left foot. Press deep into the sole of the foot. Kidney 1 is gushing spring. Kidney and bladder are both the water element. So you can imagine the water element rising up through the soles of your feet to nourish the nervous system and the organs. Press out. Try to straighten both legs. Water is also fear, has to do with fear. And then open out to the side. Feel the kidney pathway here through the pelvic floor, rising up to the collarbones. So it's really the adrenals also, adrenaline and fear. And then raise your leg a little bit higher. Fear makes the pelvic floor tight and the back of the body tight. Now release. Good. One more for the kidney. Step your feet wider apart, wider than hips. Or spread foot posture. Have your toes pointing straight ahead. And then fold forward. You can bend your knees so you keep a long spine. And maybe send your head towards the floor. So keep your knees bent so you can open the pelvic floor. Start there. Lift the tailbone, lift and spread your sit bones, and lengthen your spine. And then I'll show you a point you can work on. If you're very flexible, you can straighten your legs. You're going to work on kidney 9 here. So you can wrap your hand around the back of your calf. And then right under the calf muscle, there's a little point there. If you find it can be quite tender. You can press into that on both sides and see if it helps. What this point does is clears extreme emotions. So fear, extreme fear, anger can create tension in the kidney pathway, the back body, the pelvic floor. So if your tension is related to that, maybe spine or neck, then this point will help. Maybe you can feel it all the way up to your neck. Now release, come up, and then come back to the front of your mat. And we'll do one more sun salutation, transitioning to stomach and spleen, front body, earth element. Inhale, reach your arms up, stretch up and back, look back. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, head down. Inhale, lengthen, look forward. Exhale, plank. Lower knees, chest, chin. Cobra, squeeze your back muscles. Squeeze your butt hard. Exhale, downward. Good. Stomach and spleen, front body, and the digestive tract. Now step your right foot forward and bring your left knee down. Point your left big toe and second toe straight back. Find those toes in your mind. You don't have to look at them, but just feel them. As you stretch back through those toes, that activates your back leg. Big toe is spleen, second toe is stomach. Squeeze your whole back leg, squeeze your left butt. And come up vertical, torso, hands on your hips. You also have your hands on your knee. So your hips, your back leg is strong, and then lift your organs up, lift your chest, lift your chin, and look back with your eyes. Stretch your chin up, lift your chest up, and feel left side stomach pathway. Stretching from your left eye down your throat, down your chest, front of the rib cage, abdomen, left side, front of the hip, left thigh, all the way down to your left big toe and second toe, reaching back. Feel that whole long line, but also lifting the organs up, the whole digestive tract, moving, relaxed. Good, now release, step back to downward facing dog. Other side, step your left foot forward and bring your right knee down. Stretch your right big toe, spleen, and second toe, stomach straight back. The more you reach back through those toes, feel that activate your whole back leg. Squeeze your whole back leg, right butt muscle squeezing, and then same. Have your hands on your hips maybe. Lift your organs up as you start to lean back. Lift your chest, lift your chin, and look back with your eyes. Don't hold your breath. Remember, the breath is moving the energy. Should be slow and steady. If you can't breathe, then don't go that deep. Find your breath again. Feel right side from your eye, down your throat, chest, abdomen, front of the right hip, thigh, all the way down to your right big toe and second toe. And then come up and release, step back to downward facing dog. And then come forward and sit on your heels. And we'll do the points in the abdomen here. So here's the navel. And then about an inch out or inch and a half out is stomach 25. This the point regulates the intestines. And then another inch out is spleen 15. And so there's 4 points across here. You're gonna place your fists right into those points and then fold forward like Heather into a child pose. Once you're down, make sure your head is resting on something. If not the floor, then you can put a block under your forehead or a pillow. And then when you go down, you can make circles with your fists. Most important thing to do is breathe down into your abdomen. Every inhale should press against your hands. Breathe deep into your abdomen. And then whatever tension you feel there, try to relax it. We hold so much tension in the abdomen, so many emotions deep and around the navel. The stomach and spleen are the earth element, which has to do with the digestive tract, nourishment, but also with the intellect. Interesting, the thoughts are arising from this energy. Thinking, overthinking is worrying. So worrying is said to bind up the energy and have an effect, especially on the intestines, on the digestive tract, which is really a long muscle, a tube of muscle moving your food along. So as you work here to release any tension in the abdomen and the organs, try to clear your mind. And there's a lot going on, trying to learn things, but just for 10 seconds, forget everything. You release, come up. And then I'll show you another point on the stomach pathway, which is stomach 12. And this is right behind the collarbones. You're going to push your shoulders forward a little bit. And then you can really curl your fingers back behind the collarbones like this. And they'll get trapped there. Then you let your shoulders go back. Your fingers kind of get trapped between your top rib and your collarbones. And you can just press there, press down into it. It can feel kind of nervy, but helps release some deep tension. If you have tension in your throat and neck, you can try this. Bring your chin down. Don't round your back, just chin down. Keep pressing there. And then stretch your chin straight up away from that point. Don't think of letting your head drop back. Just stretch your chin up. And then repeat that a few times as you maintain the pressure on stomach 12. This point. Also, you can contract your lower abdomen, and that helps to move the organs upward. Much of the tension that happens in the front of the neck and throat is actually arising from the digestive tract, from the stomach pathway. Okay, release. Remember that sensation. We're going to use it in the next posture, which is camel. You don't have to go too deep in this, but try to feel the stomach pathway here. Some options, you can turn your toes under or just leave your hands on your lower back the whole time. Have your knees about hip width apart. Now push your hips forward, squeeze your butt muscle. Lift your chest, lift your chin, and look back. Feel, maybe you reach for your heels if you like. Feel the front body opening here from your knees up the front of your hips. Push your hips forward, squeeze your butt. And then feel the front of the abdomen opening, all the way up to the front of the rib cage opening, chest.
and throat into your face and eyes, knees to your eyes, stomach pathway. And then go back to the place you were pressing in the abdomen. Feel the organs relax, sliding upward easily. Create space in the chest. And then feel those points behind the collarbones. Relax there. Throat relax. Now put your hands on your lower back. Come up and sit on your heels. Concentrate. Close your eyes. Concentrate deep around the navel. Now bring your legs forward. We'll transition into the liver and gallbladder side body. Extend your right leg and bring your left foot to your thigh. You're going to do a side bend. Twist a little bit to the left so you're facing your left knee, and then keep your left sit bone down. Stretch your left arm straight up and reach over to the side. As you lean over, make sure that your chest is open. Don't round forward at all. And get a true side stretch. Keep your left sit bone glued to the floor. And that way you can feel a stretch on the side of your left hip, left waist, left rib cage. Every inhale, expand your ribs. Every exhale, feel them coming back together, emptying the lungs out. Stretch your arm completely straight, open side armpit, and then let your head fall off to the side. So gravity is assisting the opening of the left side of your neck. Relax your face, your left eye, your left ear, your left jaw, completely relaxed. Side body. Remember, the tension collects here when you're stressed out or when you're angry, also are rushing around a lot. And then reach up to come up. Now swing your right leg behind you, and we'll continue to open the left side body with a rotational hip opening. Pigeon. So you can keep your foot under your hip or bring your foot way out in front if you're more flexible, or anywhere in between, but make sure that you can let your head touch the floor or a pillow or a block so you can relax. You relax your whole body once you go down, like you could take a nap here. Close your eyes and feel left side body. From your left eye, completely relaxed. Gallbladder pathway, left ear, left jaw, relax. Left side of the neck, top of the shoulder, completely relaxed. Whole side body, all the way down the side of the rib cage, relax. Feel as you inhale, the ribs expand. As you exhale, like they collapse together, the lung deflating like an empty balloon. Left side waist, left side hip, relax. Left side thigh, IT band, completely relax. Lengthening all the way down your leg to the outer ankle and into the fourth toe. That's the gallbladder, from your left eye to your left fourth toe, side body. This wood element has to do with growth and change. So it's driving us forward, allows us to envision something, make a plan, and work to achieve it. Can also result in anger, impatience. See if you can exhale a little bit more. As you exhale, feel the diaphragm move upward. Feel the solar plexus soften. And then release, come up. And extend your left leg straight. Bring your right foot to your left thigh. Do the other side. Twist a little bit to the right, facing your right knee. Keep your right sit bone down and stretch your right arm straight up, lengthening up and over. Okay, keep pushing your right sit bone down. That way you can feel a stretch on the side of your hip. Make sure your chest stays open. Side of your waist opening. Side of your rib cage. Inhale to expand the ribs. Exhale, allow them to come together, deflating the lung. And then reach your right arm completely straight to open side armpit and let your head fall off to the side. Relax your neck little by little. Right eye, right ear, right jaw, whole right side. And then come up and swing your left leg around to the back. Still working on the right side body. And fold forward into your pigeon. Any version you like. You're going to feel something. Relax your whole body and then focus on the right side. If you close your eyes, you can start to see inside the body, develop an internal vision. You can maybe visualize or see the pathways. From the right eye, right ear, right jaw, relax. Right side of the neck, top of the shoulder, relax. Right side of the neck. Right side rib cage. In between the ribs, no tension. The exhale is so important in opening the sides of the body. The solar plexus are connected. Exhale a little bit more. Side of the waist, right side hip, right side thigh. IT band lengthening, softening, all the way down to the outer ankle and into the fourth toe. Whole right side gallbladder pathway. We can work with the physical body, we affect the mind. We can, if we release tension in the physical body, the mind, the state of mind changes. Our emotions can change rapidly. Build a mental state, it creates an energy pattern in the body. So you change your thoughts, say, especially by returning to the heart, developing compassion and wisdom, see others as yourself, love all beings, forgive people, and then it creates a mental state that relaxes these patterns in the body. Okay, release, come up. And then just sit like this, massage your gallbladder 21. That's that upper trapezius muscle. There's a point right on the top of your shoulder. You can do one side and then the other for a few seconds. This point is great for headaches and neck tension, but it also helps send the energy back down. So the liver energy tends to rise up, which is like anger, and then this, or stress, and this helps send it back down so it can benefit the whole body, including your digestive tract. Just squeeze that a little bit. It doesn't feel that great while you're doing it, but it helps. Okay, and then bring the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana. This is for the liver in particular, the liver pathway. You might have to keep your hands behind you so you can work to sit up straight, but if possible, hold your feet. And then you can press on liver 3. It's a point on the top of the foot. A lot of you guys know this. This is called Great Rushing or Tai Chong. And then it's not in the toe webbing. It's up here on the top of the foot. And you can press in there. You might feel like a tender muscle there. That helps unblock energy in the whole body, or release repressed emotions also. Any kind of pain or tension anywhere. So the liver pathway starts in the big toe, and it goes up through that point, and then it goes up along the inner shin bone. You can also press there, along these deep muscles behind the shin. And then the pathway continues up through the large muscles of the inner thighs, rises up the abdomen, and then ends here right under the breast, or right under the bra strap area. And we'll use that point in a second. If you want to go deeper, just for 10 seconds, you can fold forward. Feel the inner thighs opening. Liver controls the uterus. They're closely related. So this is also good. Anything related to the uterus, you can use the liver. Okay, come up and then lay down on your back. Keep your feet like this for reclining bounding. Once you lay down, you can just relax your spine And use your fingers to press on liver 14. That's the point right under the breast, right on the top, on the front of the rib cage, not on the sides. You'll feel some little holes there. And if you press into the ribs there, you can find some tender points maybe. Just press and maintain pressure there. And breathe. As you inhale, expand right into your pressure. Breathe into that part of the rib cage. And then as you exhale, press a little bit more, like you're trying to push the air out of your lungs. Maintain the pressure. Take a few more breaths like that. This point releases the diaphragm, and that's the main place where blockages originate in the diaphragm related to the breath. Repression of emotions starts there, diaphragm, solar plexus. So this point helps release that. Talk about that in the lecture. Okay, and then come up. Bring your knees to your chest and rock up to a seated position. And then we'll transition to the upper body pathways with a spinal twist. Okay, right knee up. You can cross your right foot over your left knee and then twist to the right. Do whatever you like. Maybe take your right hand behind you to lengthen your spine more, and then hug your thigh across. Keep your sit bone down. Extend your spine tall. You should feel your sacrum vertical. Now twisting. Twist your entire spine and all your organs. Twisting affects the sides of the body and also the triple heater pathway is what we focus on here. And the triple heater is named that because it goes through the 3 fires in the torso, which is the chest, heart and lungs, twisting, the solar plexus, liver, stomach, spleen, gallbladder, and then the lower heater is the pelvis, the intestines, and the pelvic organs. Feel like you're twisting all 3 parts. And then release. And switch your legs. Okay, left knee up, twist to the left. Don't round forward. Make your spine really tall. You can use your left hand behind you. Hug your knee across. Feel the length of your spine, chest wide open. Twisting through the 3 heaters, chest, heart, lungs, twisting. Solar plexus, liver, stomach, spleen, twisting, intestines, pelvic organs, everything twisting, all the parts of the spine twisting, the breath moving. Twisting affects all the organs, also affects all of the pathways for that reason. And then release. Okay, we'll do the heart 1 release. This point, heart 1 is in the armpit. So you can press with your 4 fingers, palm facing the back, that's how I do it. Press deep into your armpit, as deep as you can, to the deep, sweatiest part of your armpit. And then take your hand to the opposite knee. Hopefully you have short fingernails. So you can press straight up towards the ceiling to go deeper, and then press towards the wall behind you, like you're pressing into the front of your shoulder blade, actually. This point helps open the heart. It's the closest point energetically to the heart. It's good for your shoulder too. And then open your arm out to the side. Keep pressing, maintain the pressure, and bring your hand back. Make that movement a few times. This point is really good to make you happy. It's good for depression. Makes you happy, relaxes your whole shoulder. And then release. Just take a second to notice if that side feels different. And we'll do the other side. Okay, take your hand, palm facing the back, 4 fingers, press as deep as possible up into your armpit. Maybe this side feels different. Okay, and then let your arm go down. Take your hand to the opposite knee. Press a little bit deeper See what you can find in there. You might feel muscle tension. There's a muscle there, subscapularis. There's also nerves and blood vessels. But just explore a little bit before you press too deep, and then begin to make the movement. If you do this every day, it's a great practice. It changes rapidly, and you'll be able to feel the difference. So maybe an opening of the subscapularis muscle is part of the rotator cuff. So if you have rotator cuff issues, this is excellent. Can really possibly resolve those issues. And what that muscle does in the armpit is it rotates your arms internally like this. Now we're going to do the opposite, like heart opening, external rotation. Come to lay down on your abdomen. And then reach your arms forward. You're going to start with your palms together, like this. And then keep your little fingers together and rotate your palms open. So that's external rotation. It's not easy, but see if you can get the whole back of your hand to touch the floor. Keep little fingers together. And as you do that, see if you can feel it on the back of your shoulder blade. Maybe you feel a contraction on the back of the shoulder blade. Breathe into the back of your heart. Keep reaching forward through your little fingers. And then bring your heels together. Squeeze your legs and butt and lift everything up like this. Keep your palms facing up, little fingers together, legs together, reach your toes back, reach your little fingers forward, offering up the energy of the heart. Good. 3, 2, 1, release, relax. Heart is wisdom, the deepest, most essential self, dwelling in the heart, consciousness. Next, we're going to do 2 bows. And the first one will focus on pericardium, which is also heart chakra. Bend your knees and hold your feet or ankles from the inside with your thumbs pointing up. And then kick to come up. Lift your chest and thighs. Concentrate in the center of your chest. There's a point right in front of the heart, center of chest. CD17. I'll talk about it one day. Concentrate there, breathe and expand your chest, and then kick to pull your shoulders up and away from that point in the center of your chest. Pericardium is joy, connection, relationship. Maybe you can cultivate a sense of joy to go even deeper. Just for a second. It's the fire element. And then release, relax. The next bow we'll do is we'll be focusing on the lung, meridian, and throat chakra. And we'll do lion's breath, where you stick your tongue out all the way as far as possible and exhale through your mouth. We'll do it 5 times while holding the posture. And that stretches the muscles of the throat. Bend your knees and hold your feet or ankles from the outside this time. Thumb should be pointing down. And then kick to come up. Lift your chest and thighs. Good. Now lion's breath 5 times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Tongue all the way out. Exhale all the way. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Release. Now press back and sit on your heels. We'll do lung 2, a point on the lung meridian, right at the top of the chest, right under the collarbone, inside the shoulder. There's a little hole there. And you can press deep into that hole. Once you press deep into the hole, you might find a tender point or some tension or a little bump. This point, lung 2, It's called cloud gate. Cloud gate. As you press there, expand the breath into that part of your chest. And whatever tension you feel, use your mind to relax it. Ask it to relax. This point opens the energy of the lung, so strengthens the lung. And it helps with sadness, grief, depression. Very good for upper back pain also, which is often caused by a certain posture. And do both sides. Press deep into lung 2. It's also the upper attachment of the pec minor muscle, which has to do with breathing and posture. Keep expanding the breath there. Relax any tension that you find there. See it melting away little by little. And remember that sensation. We're going to come back to it in the next posture, which is camel. We're going to do one more camel. We're almost done. So stand up on your knees again. This time we'll focus on the lung pathway. Okay, start with your hands on your lower back. Push your hips forward, lift your chest and chin, look back. If possible, reach for your heels. Even if your toes are turned under, that makes it easier. Have your thumbs on the outside of your heels. And then lift your chest even more. Relax your throat. Feel the points you were just pressing into. Move your breath there, the tops of the lungs, and all the way out to lung 2. Reach down through your thumbs. Feel the line from the top of your chest down through your thumbs, lengthening. Lung is metal element, sadness, grief, and loss. Loss is also liberation, freedom, purification, getting rid of things that we don't need. Now come up, hands on your lower back, lift your chest and sit down. Extend your legs out in front and lay down on your back. Now, as soon as you lay down, bring your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around for wind relieving. Compress your thighs into your abdomen. Breathe down into your abdomen. This pose is named wind relieving because it has an effect on the large intestine. So we're working on the organ here. You can work on the organ, or you can work on the pathway, or the mental state, or you can work on all of it at the same time. Keep breathing. Every inhale down into the abdomen stimulates the large intestine. Now bring your hands out to the side in a T shape with your palms facing down. And then release your legs to the left side, turn your face to the right. Keep your shoulders down on the floor. And then relax your neck and throat. Reach now through your left index finger. So access the large intestine pathway also, last posture. Stretch from your left index finger across the front of your arm and shoulder, throat and face to your right nostril. Keep breathing into your chest, into your abdomen. Large intestine also metal element purification. Now bring your legs back to the center and release your legs to the right. Turn your face to the left. Keep your shoulders down. Relax your neck and throat. Reach from your right index finger across the front of your arm and shoulder, throat and face to your left nostril. Breathe. And then bring your legs back to the center and release. Just for 2 minutes, relax your whole body completely. Relax your arms and legs, your spine, head, face, relax. Feel your body getting heavy, sinking down. Relax your organs, intestines, liver, stomach, spleen, pancreas, gallbladder, everything relaxed. Kidneys, relax. Lungs, relax. Heart, relax. The body heals itself. We remember and honor the purpose of yoga, which is self-realization, to become established as the essential self, is dwelling in the heart of all beings the same. May all beings everywhere be happy, be at peace, at ease. May we help each other along the way. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. If you have to run to the bathroom, that's fine. I'm just going to move this camera to a little bit higher for the lecture. So we'll go right into the lecture since we don't have a ton of extra time. I'm going to turn this off. Okay. So we'll do the intro lecture, which some of you may have heard before, but it's a little bit different. And want to introduce, so in this training, we'll have the 3 seminars, and then we'll also have 3 private sessions that you'll do with the teachers. And you actually learn, I think you learn more in those because you learn more about yourself, and that's how you really learn it. You can always help people with the things that you have actually felt in yourself. So those teachers, this is one of them right here. By the way, I'm Rose Aaron. This is Heather Ellis, and she'll be one of the teachers, so you might work with her in one of your 3 sessions. We also have Sarah. Do you want to say hello really quick? Oh, Sarah and Adam. Sarah and Adam are together in this little square, and they are both going to be assisting. You have to say something or it won't show up on the screen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. Looking forward to meeting you and working with you. I really love these trainings. They're so powerful. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with everybody.
You just have to say like one word so they can see your face because the sound makes it pop up.
Yes. My name's Adam, and it's a real pleasure to be here and share this training with y'all.
Okay. Thank you. And then Hadra is here.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet you. I look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you. I love you all so much. And then Kim is here. And she'll, Kim, you have to work on your lighting, Kim.
I know.
You got to get the ring light. Okay, just kidding. And then we have Bryony is helping this time.
Hi, everyone. Bryony.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Very much. And then we have, who else? Where'd they go? Is Melissa here?
Yeah, you have 2 Melissas.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Well, actually, Misty. I'm Melissa.
Missy. I'm Missy.
Make it easier. Melissa.
Melissa and Missy are going to be helping. And then, who did I leave out? Is that everybody that's here? Did I forget? Okay, because they're in the same square. Okay. So what I'll do is after this
lecture, I'm gonna send you the assignment of your teachers, and then you can email them and set up the time. But I'll tell you exactly what to do on that. But right now I'm gonna share the lecture so we can get started. Also, if you have questions, you should write them in the chat box. And then we have some experts that are gonna answer all of your questions in the chat. But if there's something that stands out, then we can talk about it. Oops, that's not. Can you all see the screen? Okay. May all that we learn and practice be of benefit to others, and may all beings be at peace and happy. May we help each other along the way. That's important to keep coming back to that purpose. That's where the healing really begins. It begins in the heart, in your heart, and in everyone's heart. If we don't have that connection, then what's the purpose? The body will heal itself if it's really inspired. That has to do with relationship. So let's just try out a few points. Maybe I had to add some extra GIFs for the people that have done this. But large intestine 4 is one of the most commonly known points. And that is right in this muscle, okay? Each point has a name, like LI4 is just the number. It's on the large intestine pathway, it's the 4th point. Joining valley is a more poetic name. So you could say it means where the two bones come together. Not too poetic, but it probably has a deeper meaning than that. This is a good for any kind of pain, any kind of tension. And we'll talk about what chi stagnation is exactly, but it's basically a blockage in the flow of energy in the body, just like that. Huh? Oh, just like you have a water hose and it's twisted and shut down. That's what chi stagnation really is. Something happened. And then so that point usually feels like a tender muscle. And then this point, pericardium 8, is more like a burny sensation. But this point is called, it's right in the center. If you bend your fingers down, it's supposed to be where your middle finger touches your palm. And so this point is called Palace of Toil, but it's also called Ghost Cave. I like that name better because it's like related to spirits, I think, in the mind. It calms the mind because it's connected to the heart, and that's where the mind lives. Clears extreme anger, fear, anxiety. We did a point in the sequence, kidney 9, that's similar in effect. Okay, so those are very different sensation, different effect. Pericardium 6 is about 2 inches from the wrist crease, and this one you can press straight in. That's one way to do it. Push straight in. This is just to give you a wake up or a feeling of what these points are like. You can also rub this point like this, like a stretching kind of friction along the skin. Pericardium 6 helps relax the diaphragm and calm the mind. Is really good for nausea. We'll talk about it when we do the pericardium.
Roseanne, are you supposed to be showing slides to us? We just see the first slide, Meridian Yoga Therapy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, okay, now we can see.
That's weird. So you didn't see this?
Not yet.
Can you, hold on. Can you see it now? You can see the points? Okay, thanks for letting me know. I don't know how that happened. It's a mystery. Okay, so now you see why I was laughing about the ghost, but nobody saw it, so I thought it was funny. Now you can see pericardium 6 is the red dot on the left, so you can use friction like this on it or just press right into it. Many people use this for motion sickness or nausea from even chemotherapy. This is a really good point for that kind of nausea. And then heart 7 is a whole different feeling. So that's like a little hole there. There's a tendon here that sticks out, and some people press on the inside or the outside or straight into that tendon, but it doesn't feel like
the
a tight
slides
muscle.
aren't changing.
All right, we'll just leave them like this. Now you can see it? Okay, that's okay. So you can see here, heart 7, pericardium 6. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happens. And then let's do a couple in the feet. Kidney 1 is right in the sole of the foot. And then you can see, we did this one in the sequence, and you can see where it is in the bones there. We're going to do this one tonight in more detail. But just press deep into it. And that's called gushing spring. This is supposed to be a GIF. And then you can see, like, I think of it like the water in the earth rising up like that. And if it's not open, then you can't be grounded. You can't connect to that element. Now, liver 3 is called the Great Rushing. It's like, you'll see many of the point names are named after water, like this, gushing spring, Great Rushing, like a White Rapids, because it moves energy. We did this one in the sequence too in Baddha Konasana. So you can just press and squeeze that, see how it feels. And then another point named after water is the Shining Sea. And that's on the inner heel. So right under this bone right here is a little hole. Push into that little hole. We'll come back to it again. Shining Sea, because it's the water, it's the yin, builds yin, calms the mind. And then we also did bladder 62 in the sequence, and that's under the outer ankle bone. There's another hole there. Sink deep into that little hole, and that's called extending vessel. It's named after one of the extraordinary meridians that we're not doing in this training, but it opens the spine. Okay, and then let's just do a couple in the face. This lady has a lot of acupuncture needles all over her face. But bladder 2 is right here. You can just pinch your inner eyebrows. Facial acupuncture is amazing, actually. It's a really good. It affects your face, but also your mind. Pinch that bladder 2, the inner eyebrow muscles. That opens the spine also. And then right above your eyebrows, right in the center, is gallbladder 14. That's good for headaches. Both of these are good for headaches. But this one you can press and then make little tiny circles. Calms the mind. If you're stressed out, headache, this is really good for that. And then large intestine 20, right on the corner of the nostrils, you're just going to press straight into your face. So you can press in and make little tiny circles. If you have really bad sinus congestion, it helps to press straight in. If you just got clogged up nostrils a little bit, then press in and pull your nostrils out. And then suddenly they will open up. So you can breathe better and smell better. And then last one we'll do is GV20. That's governing vessel 20. It's the yang pathway in the center. There's 3 central channels that we're not going to learn, but we'll learn some points on them. And this is one of them. I like to use my fingernail, and it's right on the top of the head, but a little bit to the back, maybe a ½ inch behind the top of the head. And there you might find a little hole there where the bones come together. This is one of the main points for even for hemorrhoids, because of its direct connection to the pelvic floor. See, pelvic floor, it's like the central channel, but it brings the energy up. So if you feel tired, you can do that point. Now, what do we have here? So you're not going to be able to see these. But anyway, acupressure and yoga asana are working exactly the same. So you're doing things in the physical body, and they affect your emotions, right? They make you feel happy and calm and positive. And then because of that, it affects all the way to the spiritual level through these physical techniques. So if you already practice yoga asana, it's the same acupressure. Many of the yoga postures are actually working on the organs and the pathways. You don't have to know about it, and it still works. So I talk about this in the postures. What we're really doing, the pathways are really connecting these deep unconscious parts of the mind. Like, you don't know what your intestines are doing.
don't control them with your mind. You don't even have sensory nerves for the most part in these organs unless something really bad happens. You don't feel it. So that's unconscious. But the pathways start and go through the organs, and then they go out to these most conscious parts of the body. Like this is supposed to be a GIF. Your face and your fingers and your toes, where you can feel so much. It's very sensitive, right? Your face is very sensitive. You're completely aware of it. All of your consciousness is usually there. But then through the practices, and through the breath, we can connect and move the energy and really learn about ourselves also, about what's deep inside. So we always come back to this. There's two ways to move energy in the body. You can work on your mind directly. Well, relationships is like your emotional state is really dependent on your relationship, maybe to a person or to the universe, right? If you feel separate, then that creates all of the negative emotions arise from that. If you practice kindness, even if you don't want to be, you try to be kind to people, you try to forgive people, it will change your state of mind. But you can also then work on your body, meditate and stretch and do acupressure, and that's going to change your state of mind and probably make it easier for you to be compassionate towards others. So they work together synergistically. You should do both of them. How you see your body is going to change the way you experience this practice. So like maybe if you know some anatomy, you might start to think that you're made out of meat, that you're made out of muscles and nerves and whatever you learn about yourself. If you learn no anatomy, you might just see yourself as the surface, like skin. Whatever you see in the mirror, like how you look in the mirror is how you see, that's who you are. If you learn anatomy, then you start to say, oh, I'm just like a skeleton and my shoulder is funny and my spine is twisted and that's who I am, my heart and all, right? But then maybe you can, through these practices, get a sense of yourself in a different way, how you feel inside. Close your eyes. What does it feel like? It doesn't feel like muscles and bones. It feels like something more changing, constantly changing, colors, shapes, movements, whatever you feel. And then you want to develop that to ultimately, this is like called a toroid, but really ultimately you're made of this polarity, like a duality of the yin and the yang. And around that is formed, that's from the Taoist perspective, but maybe yoga also, right? Sun and moon is a primary duality. How do you see your body? Okay, if you start to see energy, it's not like a magical kind of funny energy. It's really what you feel. See yourself as how you're feeling. That's one way to talk about it. But prana is from the yogic system, and qi is from the Chinese medicine or the Taoist system. But they're the same thing. Prana and qi is exactly the same thing. It's like the force from Star Wars, if you remember that. Prana is in all things living and non-living. So it's moving through us. It's moving through the air. It's in the air. It's in water. It's in trees. But it's also in minerals, rocks, the earth, the universe. It's intelligence also. It's not just energy like electricity. It's an intelligence. It's information, intelligence, organization. And so that's what we're working with in yoga and in acupressure. Prana, if you heard of pranayama, is connecting to the universal energy. And this prana or chi that we're moving, so we say in pranayama, you're moving, it's breathing. Maybe you know pranayama is breathing. But breathing, we think, oh, you're just moving air in and out of your lungs. And some people say prana is like the air, oxygen, carbon dioxide. It's not. Prana is subtle. You can't see it. It's not something that you can
see like a molecule. But so the breath is moving the air in and out of the lungs, but really it's moving, prana is moving through the whole body like this. I really like this differentiation, that it has to do with the breath, but it's not the breath, it's not air, it's energy. Whatever is moving your breath is also moving the prana. What makes your breath move? By itself all the time, since you were born. Prana is moving through specific pathways. That's what we're going to study. It moves through these subtle pathways that you cannot find in a dead body so far. I doubt that they will ever find the meridians in a cadaver, although there are some people that have found some cool stuff. But I think that those pathways are something that only exists in a living body. And here's the nadis you can see from the yogic system. So the nadis, there's like maybe infinite number of nadis. And if you study yoga, you may have heard or know a lot about the nadis. And they fill the whole body. So the nadis are not exactly the same as the meridians. But they're more similar to the meridians that we're not learning, which are the central channel, okay, the extraordinary vessels. We're learning the 12 regular meridians that are named after the organs, and they have to do with physiological functions, and they have to do with the emotions. But the nadis are a little bit deeper than that. And so that's also a system of medicine, or it developed into a spiritual practice and a system of medicine, just like the pathways that we're studying developed into a medicine called we call it Chinese medicine, but it's also developed into a spiritual practice. So those are the nadis. You can see there's like too many of them. And why I wanted to study meridians is because I couldn't find anyone or any information. I couldn't find enough about nadis to be satisfied. But then when I went to study Chinese medicine and the meridian system that we're learning, there was so much knowledge. It was so well developed into this very sophisticated science about the emotions and the points on the body. And I was really excited to find something so thorough and that really goes well with yoga also. So here's the 12 meridians. It's still a lot. There's 365 points on these 12 meridians. Some of them are off the meridians, but most of them are on the pathways. You can see, you don't have to learn all the points, but you can learn where the pathways go. And then you can intuitively find the points or learn like 10 points on each pathway. So think of the pathways. This is the New York City subway system. You can think of the pathways or the meridians is a French word. That means like the pathways where the chi flows. But if you think of them as the subway system, then the train tracks are the meridians. So each one, and they can cross over, and then they have stops, and then they have central hubs like Times Square. If you're not from New York, just imagine this is like where all the trains cross over. Herald Square, Union Square. And these are like the organs. So you could say like this is the liver, and all the pathways, a lot of the pathways go into the main organs like the heart and the spleen and the lungs and the liver and the kidneys. And then they extend out. So they're carrying the people or the chi out to the extremities, to the fingers and toes, way out here in the burrows, up into the face. Okay, so think of it like that. It's not exactly the same, but same basic idea. And so along the train, there's all these little stops, and the train stops are where the energy comes to the surface. You can also think of it like, you know how if you understand geology, you know water flows under the surface of the earth. It's exactly like this. And so the water is flowing like that under the surface. And if you want to get to the water, you have to drill a deep well, right? But sometimes the water comes up to the surface like a spring. And that's what the points are. The points are where the water
naturally comes up to the surface, or where the chi comes to the surface. And then you can access it. Just like you can get on the train only on these specific points. And then you have access to the whole pathway. So if you want to affect the whole entire pathway, you're going to try to press on these points that they found through self-study, through experimentation. They found over thousands of years, they developed this point right here does something. It's important. And there's 12 meridians and 12 organs. And half of them are yin, half of them are yang. They're in pairs. So the yin organs are more vital. If you try to look at this chart and figure out what's the difference between the organs on the left and the organs on the right. The ones on the right, I think is obvious. The ones on the right are all like a tube. They're hollow. It's a sac or a tube, like the large intestine, the stomach is a hollow. So it's like something's going through it. Small intestine, the bladder, the urine is stored in there and then it releases. The gallbladder, same. Triple heater that's a unique one that has to do with the connective tissue in the whole body. Okay, but the yin organs are the ones that are more solid. Some of them have holes in them, but they're more solid in general. And they're more vital. You will die rapidly if you don't have lungs. Large intestine, you could live without it. It's not pleasant, but you could, right? You could live without most of your stomach. You could live without your small intestine. Well, a lot of it. You need a little bit of it. And bladder, you can live without. Gallbladder, you can live without. Okay, so the yin organs are more vital also. That's the difference between those two. Okay, you'll see the difference in the pathways also. And as you study them, the yin organs are more protected, they're softer. The yang organs are like on the outside for defense, and they're harder. Okay, but the organs in this system, the organs are not just organs. They're not just physiological. They're not just doing chemistry and physiology. They have an emotional aspect. Each one, just like the heart, everybody knows the heart represents love, like Valentine's Day. So, give somebody a picture of a liver on Valentine's Day, you give them a heart because it means love, and love is the emotion that goes with the heart. Love and joy, but also on a deeper level, wisdom and compassion, romance too, all right there. And then the liver is more like our drive. So the liver feels like it's always working harder than everyone else, and that makes it kind of mad. The liver is kind of mad and frustrated and driven. But we need the energy. We need that. We need that to achieve things. Right? And then the stomach and spleen is like completely opposite energy. See, right side liver, left side stomach, spleen. The stomach and spleen are about nurturing, and they want to relax and have a snack and like just chill and heal the body. Okay, so those two left and right energies, you can think of them, they kind of fight with each other a little bit. And then you have the kidney. Well, this kidney looks sad, but the kidney is fear actually. And so let's see what's next. So each one is like a voice, called like the 5 voices in your head. If you meditate, how many voices do you hear? If you've ever meditated, you probably had like many conversations, maybe even arguments inside your own head, discussions. Maybe it's blah, blah, blah. No, what about this? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of those voices, according to this system, are arising from different organs. So the voice of the liver is like, work harder, hurry up. The voice of the spleen is like, no, just relax, take care of yourself. The lung is like, we're gonna die anyway. It doesn't matter, we're gonna die anyway, just forget about it, give up. And then the heart's like, I love everybody, this is so beautiful.
Well, that's the voice you really ultimately want to listen to, is the heart, because that's the ruler of the body. So you want to develop that. And the kidney's like, get out of here, you're going to die. I don't know. The kidney is always like in survival mode. It has to do with adrenaline and fear. So, and paranoia too, I think, is related to the kidney. But the heart is the voice that speaks happiness, joy, wisdom, and compassion. And that's the one you ultimately have to hear. But they all serve their purpose. Now, they all should serve the purpose of the heart, actually. Yeah, we don't have time in this training to go into all of this. But just take a look at it. If you already did level 1, now you can review. See each one of the pairs. So kidney goes with bladder. That makes sense. Kidney makes urine, bladder stores urine, right? And they are both water element, root chakra. Fear, shock, trauma. Each pair goes with an element. There's 5 elements, 5 emotions. Here's the 5 elements chart, wheel. They're all related to each other in a specific way. Spleen and pancreas are one organ in this system. They're not. They're separate structures. They have separate functions in a physiological sense. But in this system, energetically, spleen and pancreas, they're next to each other, and energetically they share the same energy. Okay, they affect each other. And then the stomach. So that has to do with digestion, nourishment, and the earth element. That makes sense. Earth is like nourishing, and intellect, worrying. Kind of think of it like your mother. She worries too much. She's trying to take care of you, nurture you, and she's worrying constantly. Okay. And then liver is paired with the gallbladder. That makes sense because they're right next to each other. Liver makes bile, gallbladder stores it. So they have a direct relationship. And this is the wood element: anger, frustration, rage, impatience, creativity, drive, vision. Okay, and then the heart. So this one, fire element, has 4, and this is the heart chakra also, fire element. Heart and small intestine go together. Pericardium, triple heater. We'll talk about these when we get to them. And those are all joy and love. And then lung and large intestine go together. Why? That one's kind of weird, right? Well, heart and small intestine is kind of weird too, but it'll start to make sense as we go deeper into each pathway. And these are metal. See, the lung is exhale, purifies. Large intestine purifies the body of waste, food waste. See? And then death, grief, sadness, and liberation. Look at this chart. I've seen this before, but I thought I would put it up because it helps you understand like how the emotions affect the body in different ways. They actually took, this is actually from a survey that they did of 700 people, and ask them where they feel the emotions. And then they combined the data from 700 people and made these drawings. I think it's interesting, but this is self-reported. Like love, happiness brings the most energy. And then like anger, people feel it up here. So anger makes the energy rise up. I'll show you those pictures in a second. And this is interesting. Depression makes you go blank. It's like a depletion of energy, which it really is. And then anxiety is all centered around the heart, a little bit, gut. Anyway, I just thought that was cool. So the emotions affect the whole body, but these are 3 important points. The heart feels all of the emotions. So every emotion, anger, fear, worry, whatever, sadness, it's all going to affect the heart because the heart has to feel it, because that's where the feeler is, the seer, the witness of everything happening. And then the pericardium is controlling the flow of emotions in the heart. So if your emotions get too crazy or too negative even, then your pericardium will protect your heart and just block it out. So you don't feel it. You won't know. You won't even know how you feel anymore. And then the liver controls the flow of emotions in the whole body. And that has to do with the movement of the breath and the diaphragm. We call that repression sometimes, stress related, tension. So just remember, liver, pericardium, and heart, very important in the emotions. But they all have to do with the emotions. And so the gallbladder is paired with the liver. And so when the liver represses the emotions, the gallbladder meridian takes the excess energy and it creates muscle tension. So why do your muscles get tight when you're stressed out? And this, according to this system, it has to do with the gallbladder meridian. And usually the muscles that get tight are along this pathway. Clench your jaw, your neck and shoulders go up like this, that's gallbladder. You may not realize it, but your rib cage and your breath gets tight. It changes. You can have pain under the ribs too. Lower back, hips, all the way down your IT band and everything. So most of the places that get tight when you're stressed out, this has to do with this, especially when you're angry. And then here's a picture of the emotions as they move. One person's interpretation of fear is a sinking, rapid sinking. So when you get shocked, then the energy drops suddenly. You feel shaky. You feel wide awake because of the adrenaline, but then you feel kind of shaky and weak at the same time. Okay, that's fear. And then anger is like a tidal wave. We're rushing that pushes the blood and the chi and everything moves up. Get high blood pressure, your face turns red, your muscles get tight. Worrying, we were talking about in the class, it's like a knotting up of the energy. You get stagnant in the intestines especially, or the digestive tract. And then grief is like this hanging rain cloud, like that black color void in the chest. And then see, love is like a relaxation. Love, joy, happiness is a radiance, radiating outward. So everything relaxes when you're happy. There's the train track again. Remember if the train track is the pathway, the meridian, and the train is the chi moving through it, what's powering the movement of the chi? You can say also the movement of the breath. If the breath is flowing, the chi is flowing, in other words. If the breath is compromised, so is the chi. And there's a picture of the movement of the diaphragm. You should become very familiar with this. It can help, it can change your life. And then if it changes your life, you can teach it to other people. And if people learn how to breathe right, then they have a lot more power. Many people breathe opposite. They have this backwards in their mind. But anyway, when you inhale, this green line is the diaphragm. When you inhale, the diaphragm goes down. It contracts downward. So that's kind of counterintuitive. But it contracts downward and it flattens out. And then when you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and it goes back up. So it wants to be sitting like this when it's relaxed, but then it contracts and moves down. And that contraction downward pulls the lungs down and it creates a vacuum that sucks the air in. Okay, but what's moving the diaphragm? When the diaphragm moves, it doesn't just move the lungs, it moves all the organs and all the connective tissue in the whole body. And so it's also moving the energy. The diaphragm is the main muscle that moves breath and prana through the pathways. There it is. Oh, here we go. So there, again, you can see these little things that come down. That's the tendons. They help to pull the diaphragm down as it contracts downward. So, in other words, if you release your diaphragm, then you release a lot of, maybe all of your repressed emotions. How do you block your emotions? So if you want to, let's say, a lot of times you don't block your emotions on purpose. You don't even realize you're doing it. you just know that something makes you mad, and then you don't have time, you have to get over it, it's not appropriate, and then suddenly you're not mad anymore, you just keep going. That happens in the solar plexus, in the diaphragm. So when you inhale, the diaphragm moves down, and then if you don't want to feel your emotions for some reason, it stays that way. The diaphragm stays contracted because you can breathe into other parts of your lungs through your accessory muscles, through the intercostal muscles, but you're going to hold tension in the solar plexus. This is going to build up tension right here when you have a lot of held back emotions, whether they're suppressed or repressed. People talk about that. If they're blocked for any reason, you're going to have tension built up right here. This is a really good point that we'll learn. And the way that we naturally release that tension is how? Laughing, screaming, crying, singing even. So if you want to release your emotions, you can scream really loud, do like a primal scream, or just sigh. You exhale. After you get home, you exhale, and then you cry for like 1 minute, and then you feel great. You feel a sense of relief, and all of this tension is gone. But sometimes people never release their emotions. They can hold it for the entire life, and that has an effect on the whole body, on all the organs ultimately. So if the blockage probably starts in the diaphragm with the breath, kind of the unconscious repression of these extreme intense emotions, like anger especially is destructive. So we often repress anger so that we don't hurt other people. It's good to block it if you're going to hurt somebody, because that would be worse. So those blockages, like, I don't know, do you guys have garden hoses? I grew up with a garden, so I had a garden hose. And then like they can kink. So the water flows through the hose. And then if you want to stop the flow of the water, you just bend it. You twist it like that. And then maybe it just trickles. But that kink is kind of what we're talking about with the blockage. It makes the flow of chi either nothing or very small, or delays the train flowing. And where there is a lack of flow, there is pain. Next time we'll talk about pain. What is pain? What even is pain? Right? Tension you can feel. The muscle contracts and it gets hard. Pain, where there's a lack of flow, there is pain. So pain can come from too much or too little energy. What causes these blockages? Well, we already talked about the emotions. Extreme emotions will cause the breath to change, and that will cause a blockage that can radiate through the whole body. Other causes, that's called an internal cause. The emotions are happening inside the body. Even though it seemed like that person made you mad, emotions are an internal cause. They didn't do it, you did it. Your emotions did it. The external causes are not assholes that piss you off. Things like actual physical injury, like you bumped your arm, you got a bruise or a cut. Okay, that's an external injury. That heals really fast. Okay, if there's not an emotional thing around it, that bruise or that cut is going to heal rapidly. Like in 2 days, a week maximum, it's going to heal. A bone takes longer. But if there is the emotional stuff can stay forever. The weather can affect you externally, and diet. That's, even though it's inside your body, that's considered pizza. Pizza is the main external cause of blockages. No, but bad food has an effect. If your body is all clogged up and your tissues are real sticky from sugar or from bad inflammatory proteins,
then that's going to cause blockages. And no matter what you do, it's going to be difficult to move the energy. Diet is really important. Also avoid alcohol if possible. It's possible. And then you will have better flow of qi. That's not what the Chinese people say, but I think it's true. Or some of them probably do, but a lot of them disagree with that. Anyway, so the blockages mostly is qi stagnation is a term that you should know. Qi stagnation. So qi is the energy. Stagnation is like when the river doesn't flow and it gets all clogged up and murky. So qi stagnation, when we say that, we're talking about emotions most likely, or what we might call stress, causing muscle tension. And remember, your intestines are also made out of muscle. So qi stagnation can show up in ordinary muscle, skeletal muscle, but also in the digestive tract. Okay, qi stagnation mostly affects the muscles. So there's other kinds of stagnation, just so you have an idea. There's also blood stagnation and fluid stagnation, but we don't deal with that. We're talking about qi stagnation in this training and in level 1, 2. Qi moves much faster, changes rapidly, has to do with the emotions. Here's an example of the bladder meridian. Why the meridian system is so cool. We're gonna do the bladder meridian tonight. But just to look at it quickly, the meridians connect the body. So for example, if you tend to get headaches right here or at the base of the skull and your neck is kind of stiff and you have lower back pain, sometimes you get a UTI or you have a recurring, you also have tight hamstrings and once in a while you get plantar fasciitis. You don't have to have all of them. You can have 2 or 3 of them or have had them combined with the ones on the right side here. Can you guys see the cursor? Yes, okay. Sometimes you have anxiety, you have a history of trauma, you feel afraid, or you have insomnia, you know, your nerves are kind of fragile, or you have weak bones even, poor memory, like the brain. Okay, so all of that collection all relates to the bladder meridian. So we're going to learn how to ask questions and find out all this stuff. But you can just think about yourself, think of your collection. And so if you go to a Western doctor, that'll be like 10 different doctors, 3 different doctors at least. Chinese medicine, the meridian system is one thing. It's the bladder meridian. It's one thing. It's a problem, a stagnation or an imbalance, excess or deficiency in the bladder meridian. So it's a way to connect everything, which it is connected. It's not separate. And that's why this system is so powerful if you embody it. If you practice it and embody it and develop yourself, I forgot to say this at the beginning, develop yourself, your body, meaning your body and mind, as like a healing vessel, a vessel of this knowledge. So you have to heal your own body first. You have to eat the right food, become very sensitive, develop concentration. And then this medicine is everything. It's extremely powerful. If it doesn't work, then just keep clearing your vessel. And then here's all of the pathways. And you can even just look at them and say, which one is more you? Which one is you, Heather?
Depends on the day. Today, bladder kidney.
Today, Heather is bladder kidney. So you don't have to know anything. We use this as a diagnostic tool, actually, in the sessions. You can show this to people, but you're going to show them one that doesn't have any words on it, so they don't have to think about, oh, kidney. I don't have a kidney problem. They just look at the pathway and they see it visually. I'll make it bigger. So they see visually like, oh, that's exactly where it hurts, right there. Anyway,
And this is actually from the meridian clock also. So the meridians are recognizable patterns that can be great diagnostic tools for people that are more visual. And here's the sinew channels. Each color is a different meridian. So each meridian has a surface part right under the skin, and it's like a river of chi. But then each meridian also has a sinew pathway or a sinew channel or a myofascial pathway. You could also, same thing, myofascial pathway, sinew channel. So the sinews means muscle and connective tissue. And so this is more like in a physical sense, what that river of chi has to do with in a physical sense. Can see like which one is more, I'm gonna say bladder maybe also today. But this green one is a really common pattern related to stress. That's the gallbladder pathway. Okay. And here's another, there's the gallbladder on the side of the body. So you can see this collection of symptoms like temporal headache, jaw pain, jaw dysfunction, TMJD, and then tension here, tension in the ribs, but also irritable bowel, constipation, diarrhea, lower back pain, different kind of lower back pain. We talked about that in level 1. Lower back pain could be stomach, it could be bladder, it could be gallbladder. But you go by, if you have lower back pain, you look at the rest of the collection of symptoms. Are you more afraid, or are you more angry all the time? Or are you just worried all the time? And so, and what other, do you have ankle problems, temporal headache, or frontal headache? So you look at the whole collection and put that together into this big picture. And then you have a place to start, whether you're working on yourself or someone else. Okay. Here's the stomach pathway, last example. And then you can see that pathway is on the front of the body, and it has to do with digestion too. So hunger, appetite, heartburn, nausea, but hip flexors, hernias are usually stomach and spleen. And then also vitality. So if you're dead tired all the time and worried. Anyway, you don't have to learn all that right now, but that's just to give you a sense of what the point of these meridians is a way of physically connecting all of those, what might be a collection of symptoms in someone. So it's like, oh, wow, that's like, that connects every single thing I have. That makes a person get really interested in a deeper level of understanding themselves in a holistic way. Now, what are the pathways made of? Maybe they're not made of anything. Maybe they're subtle. Some people, I like to think that they're in the connective tissue, which is what this little guy is right here, the fascia or connective tissue. And then this is some pictures from Thomas Myers' anatomy trains of the myofascial pathways. So he found these in cadaver dissections where he found like this continuous train, he called them trains, like my train analogy, of connective tissue like muscle, tendon, ligament, tendon, muscle, tendon, ligament, tendon, muscle, etc., all the way from, say, the arches of the feet, I think this is spleen, arches of the feet to the inner thighs, and then the hip flexors and the deep front muscles of the neck. So he actually found this in a physical sense in his cadaver dissections. Really fascinating. If you're into that, you should definitely get this book and read it. So connective tissue is important. I believe it's where the pathways are because of the nature of connective tissue. It doesn't just run in these sheets and trains. It connects everything to everything, even to a microscopic level. It's like this picture right here. You see some cells with all this yellow stuff around them is the connective tissue.
So little tiny fibers. And each one of those fibers is like a fiber optics or like an internet cable. Okay, it's conducting information. It's not just packaging. It looks like maybe it's like glue that's holding things together, like a spider web or something. But it's not. It is holding things together. But what it's really doing is conducting information. So it has the capability of creating a current. It's made of collagen fibers, and these collagen fibers are very unique, long molecules, kind of like a cable. And then when they're stretched and pressed or stretched or twisted or whatever, it creates a current. Now that's not normal. Okay, normal molecules don't create a current when they move, but this one does. It creates an electric current, measurable, and it sends that down. So if you go back here, you can see, imagine information, and these actually connect to the cell membrane and they go into the cell. So the intelligence of every single cell is unified. Your body is unified by the intelligence of this web of connective tissue. And that's an intelligence of the body that is not necessarily connected to the central nervous system. In other words, you don't necessarily, your brain doesn't know about it. But your body, your body has an intelligence that your brain doesn't have. Your brain is limited. The intelligence of the body is unlimited. It's adaptable, it changes constantly. And that's the nadis, really, and the meridians of the ancient scientists, the ancient yogis. They felt this. They knew a lot of stuff about the universe that science only recently confirmed, but they already knew. So anyway, there's an intelligence of the body, and that intelligence of the body is also affected by the universe in ways that our brain can't comprehend. By fields, like the feel of the earth, of the moon, probably all the planets as well. Everything happening in the whole universe, we're part of it. And that's the intelligence. Anyway, but then it's also in these sheets. So it's web-like, and it's also in sheets. And the sheets are where the pathways, the meridians are in this, that create lines of strain, so they're like large rivers of information versus little tiny cables and wires that are connecting everything else. So the meridians are really like the rivers, large rivers. We already said this, didn't we? Yeah. Okay. So some of the points, remember the points are where you can access the whole pathway. So if you want to treat, if you figured out that you have a bladder thing going on, you got a bladder meridian thing, then you can do all the points. You could just do all the points on the bladder meridian, or you could pick out 10 of them, or just follow the whole meridian and you'll be able to find the points. So some of the points, what time are we supposed to be? We're almost there. Okay. We have like 10 minutes. So some of the points are, it's like a topographical map. And you can go ahead and feel your arm like this. If you haven't done this, or even if you have, you can feel the surface of your arm. Close your eyes and just feel it. And you can feel like places where where it feels tighter or harder or tighter, or maybe then you can feel places that feel like empty holes in between things, soft, empty spaces. And so you can find the points. So some of the points, like this map here, are on the peaks of the mountains. And then some of the points are in the deepest valleys. So there's a point here on the peak of this mountain, and then there'll be a point here also in the hole that's in between the mountains, in other words. So it's not, acupressure is very different from massage, which is kind of like you just squeeze the muscles. I mean, unless you know a more specific massage. But acupressure is very specific. So you press right into the point, and by pressing in that point, it releases the whole river or into the hole. And each point, so you press on a point on the peak of the mountain, feels very different than when you press on a point in this deep valley. But same effect, it can move energy in the whole pathway. There's some points are tight, like I just said. And they're basically kind of like knots in the muscle also. You can see it, like if you understand, if you've heard of trigger points, kind of trigger points are basically acupressure points, but they're a specific kind of acupressure point where there's a lot of muscle tension. And then they can refer pain to other places, okay? They're holding excess energy. They have too much energy or chi. And then some points are soft or deep. They're like the holes, the valleys. In these points, maybe they don't have too much energy. Maybe they don't have enough energy. And then you can concentrate and draw the energy there. Take a second and feel your pulse. This is a good way just to develop some sensitivity leading into this. So you can feel your radial pulse. See, it's under the thumb side. Don't do it with your thumb, but do it with your 3 or 4 fingers like this. And just for 30 seconds, close your eyes and feel you can see with your fingertips. Your mind creates an image based on what you feel. We tend to rely on our eyeballs to give the information to the mind. But you can create an image just by sound or by touch. In many ways, the mind is constant, or imagination. The mind can create images constantly. So create an image in your mind of what the pulse looks like. If you find it, you can press a little deeper. Keep pressing deep into your pulse. So you press the pulse into the bone. Notice when your pulse disappears. And then very, very slowly release the pressure. And notice when your pulse comes back. And then keep releasing the pressure until it disappears. And then return to the pulse. Press into it. So you have a sense, like a 3-dimensional sense of where the pulse is. In between the skin and the bone is the artery, like a tube of blood, or whatever you see in your mind. Pulse is fascinating. Some people spend a lot of time studying the pulse and what it means about the body. But you were just using it to figure out how to see with the fingers, to develop sensitivity. So it's nice when you're first learning on yourself to close your eyes when you try to find the points. And then you don't rely so much on the visual. You might have to look at it first. And then once you look at it, just press into it and see what you feel. And your mind is going to say, no, you need to move over a hair this way, right? If you develop these skills, sensitivity, breath, concentration, you trust your feelings. So that this map of the meridians and the points is just a suggestion. And if you don't feel the point where you think it's telling you to go, then close your eyes, concentrate on it. And maybe it's like 1 hair to the right or whatever, the left. Trust your instinct, because the maps are based on a kind of a generic person. And then everybody's body is proportioned differently, for one thing. But also, my teacher said that the points can move and the pathways can shift a little bit depending on your energy and what's happening. So you really have to pay attention and feel.
And you should teach other people to do the same thing. If you start teaching this to other people, which I hope you do, then teach them to feel. That's such a gift to tell somebody to tell you to pay attention and trust your own knowledge inside. Acupuncture works by moving the blood, the chi, and consciousness. So we were talking about chi. So we're saying if you push on this point, for example, it's an active point, you push on it and then you move the chi. Either you spread the chi out because it was too much there, it was too tight, or you bring the chi there. By the way, it doesn't matter. So if you push on the point, either nothing's going to happen or something or whatever needs to happen will happen. If it's too tight, it will relax. If it's not enough energy there, the energy will come. All you have to do is push on it. That's how it works. So the chi moves. Wherever the chi moves, the blood goes. So if there's not enough blood, the blood will come there too. That's a little bit slower than the chi. But consciousness also, when you press on it, your consciousness goes there. You become aware of it, in other words. Maybe you were never aware of this point. You didn't even know it hurt. And then you push on it and you're like, whoa, what is that? That's consciousness. That's your awareness. And once you have consciousness of something, you know, it begins to change by itself. It's like turning the light on. If you see it, it will begin to change. Now, we're not working on other people. You're welcome to use this on other people, but we're mostly working on yourself and teaching other people to work on themselves. But this is still important. If you haven't heard this yet, the tiger's tail. So that little orange thing is a tiger's tail. And I think the points are like this little thing right here. They're like little and furry and soft and cute, right? They seem so innocent. And then, but on the other side of it is this, you don't know. You don't know what's on the other side of it. But it's probably something really powerful because deep inside of us, we have so much power. Mostly we haven't tapped into our power. Like that, like if you understand Kundalini yoga or just the brain, we don't even use most of our potential, but this can help unlock it. Okay, so when you work on a point, especially like this is one notorious for awakening the tiger. If you press in the solar plexus, this is a point, and you say, oh, it's just a little point, and then you push into it, and you may feel some resistance. You may feel sharp pain even. Not to say you should keep pushing on sharp pain, but just respect the edge of it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. But press there and stay and wait. Don't push too hard. Why? Because you don't want to push on a tiger. Not going to have a good result with that. But you also don't want to leave it there. So you have to respect the power. You have to move with a sense of awe and respect. Like, wow, this is so powerful. Now, don't force it, but meet it with your breath and your consciousness. Understand, maybe it's some old trauma. It could be some deep emotion. You're so mad and you didn't even know it. And then it feels physical, but it's really emotional. That's possible. It's common, actually. It's very common. So respect the tiger. And then as you press into the points, I like to use this point, is sink in. Oh, this is a GIF. Hold on. Point, you're like, nothing happened. Don't do that. Push slowly, like you're doing a screw clamp. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Sink in. And then go a little bit deeper, but slowly, not too fast. Deeper, deeper, deeper. And then can you relax? Can you maintain the pressure and relax at the same time? And then same for releasing the pressure. Okay, release it just as slow as you went in, release the pressure. And that way you have time to pay attention to what you feel and to allow it to change. Okay, smooth and slow pressure. Keep breathing, pay attention. Then we have to hurry up, don't we? Okay. Okay, mostly we'll be using vertical pressure, which is what I just showed you, pressing straight into the center of the body. Some other techniques, but I'll show you with the points where these apply. I already showed you pericardium 6 for a second. So horizontal pressure is like myofascial release, is a stretching. Creates some friction, maybe even a burning sensation, and that helps stretch the pathway. Any stagnation release. You're going to go slow, and then you release tension and that kind of stagnation in the pathway. You can also do the tapping like we did. So you're tapping stomach 12 and 5 and 1. Tapping or slapping is good. Vibration, just pressing and vibrating your hand. So there's many ways to move the chi. Making little circles, not just direct pressure. People use a lot of different techniques. You can use tools, but I don't really use tools. I like to feel with my fingers. Now you need to know this. You need to know about this measurement, which is kind of about an inch. Basically, it's like an inch, but it's called a sun, which is not how you really say it. But it's something like sun, and this is the character that says that. But it's a relative measurement. And in your book, you'll see a chart of relative measurements. But you also see the point locations. If you go to look up some point, I don't know, stomach 12, it'll say like 4 sun from the midline, okay? So it's behind the collarbone, 4 sun out. And then there it is. But you have to measure, you can measure 4 thumb widths. And then there's other ways, like 4 fingers is 3 sun, so you would go like 4 fingers and 1 thumb. We can learn about that for each point, but I want you to know what that word means. And the reason it's useful is because you can't say 1 inch, because you have somebody that's 6'5", their leg is like this long. And then you have somebody 4 feet tall, their leg is like this long. And so 1 inch is not going to be accurate on those people. So you have to have you use the 6'5" person, you use their thumb is 1 sun. And then the 4 foot person, their thumb's going to be smaller. So their measurement is smaller. Anyway, you get the idea. You have to measure it based on the person's proportions. Just to return to this idea that this kind of medicine has to be centered around the heart. So you can't just fix the body. You can't just fix the energy. If you fix your heart, nothing's wrong with your heart. But if you connect and allow the heart's voice to speak louder than all the rest of them, then the body will heal itself. So you have to simultaneously awaken the heart. And that's the cool thing, is that through these sessions, if you learn how to work with people, well, we're going to learn how to work with other people. Then by healing, by helping them heal and helping inspire them, then this helps your own heart. And so everybody benefits at the same time. Last thing, the meridians connect. So they form a continuous circuit like this. It goes like this: lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, like this. See the orange lines? Anyway, it cycles every 24 hours. Every 24 hours, the energy moves through the circuit. So for example, and this is a good diagnostic tool for some people, they love it. The lung is 3 to 5 a.m. Okay, so if you have a problem always at 3 to 5 a.m., it could be related to the lung. If you have a problem always 7 to 9 p.m., it could be related to the pericardium. if you hate 7 to 9 p.m. every day, pericardium. If you hate the morning, whatever, you get the idea. So these hours, let's say you have an issue in the stomach, you may feel irritable, or you may feel some issue in your stomach, because there's supposed to be more energy in the stomach in these hours, 7 to 9 a.m. That's when you're supposed to eat, actually. You're supposed to have breakfast. Okay. So tonight, in the remaining time, we're going to learn about kidney and bladder pathways. This is the water element and the root chakra. Here you can see the pathway, and this is from the book. The pathway starts in the sole of the foot. It goes up here under, we'll go through the points. See, it's very hidden. And then it goes into the pelvic floor. And when you look in your book, you'll see the red lines are on the surface of the body. And then there's points. The blue points are just the ones that we talk about more. So those, in my opinion, I like those points. So that's why they're blue, because we talk about them more. But anyway, we do use kidney too, actually. But anyway, the points are on the red line. And then there's also this dotted line, right? See, the dotted line represents where the pathway goes deep inside. So you can't touch it anymore. And there's no points on it because it's deep. Like the nadis are deep too. Anyway, so this pathway goes up to the pubic bone, or it goes into the pelvic floor, and then it comes out here. Actually, it doesn't switch sides. It stays on the same side. And then they're symmetrical. So in the book, you see kidney, it looks like it starts here and then it goes to this side, but actually it's on both sides at the same time. But it's just too hard to draw that way. So there'll be two kidney pathways exactly symmetrical, okay, on both sides. But anyway, that goes from the pubic bone and it goes up to the collarbone. That's kidney. And in the meantime, it goes through the organs. It goes through the urinary bladder. It goes through the spine, spinal cord. See, it goes through the kidney. It goes through the liver. It goes through the heart. It goes through the lung. And it goes all the way up to the root of the tongue. So the kidney pathway goes through a lot of organs. Some of them don't, but the kidney in particular, because it's a very foundational energy. And so it affects the liver a lot. It affects the lung. It affects the heart, and etc. Okay. This water element, again, emotion, is fear. When we say fear, we're talking about like real fear, like you almost died. Okay? Because there's other kind of fears which are maybe more like worry. Like I'm afraid I'm afraid that I can't pay my rent. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my job. That's not the fear we're talking about. We're talking about you heard a loud noise, it sounded like a gunshot, and then you freaked out, turned around and realized somebody just slammed the door. But in that moment, you experience fear. And then your body had a certain pattern. Your butt clenches, your back body, you wake up, your eyes open, and that's the energy of the kidney and bladder. It's the adrenal glands. So the kidney is also the adrenals. And the adrenal glands sit like a little hat on top of the kidneys. And they're energetically the same organ. And then you see fear. See, fear can make you pee in your pants. It has to do with this rapid downward energy. Okay. And then here's the kidneys. You can see the right kidney is a little bit lower. We gotta hurry up. And the left kidney. Anyway, the right kidney is yang, left kidney yin. This one's under the liver. This one's under the spleen, pancreas. And so the yin, anyway, they have to balance each other out. Yin energy, yang energy. If you get an imbalance in those foundational energies, it's going to have a pattern. It's going to create a pattern in the other organs and in the whole body. A spread foot posture. We did this in the sequence. It's a good way to access the pathway. Open the pelvic floor, the inner hamstrings. And there's a picture of the pelvic floor. So you think about fear in a dog. When a dog is afraid, its tail pulls under. And the same thing happens to us. I mean, this is our tail. We have a little tiny tail. And these are the muscles that can contract when we get afraid. And that's the kidney pathway. And it affects the whole spine. Okay, we did this posture also. So you have your kidney 1 in the standing foot, and then your opening kidney pathway. And we already did this point. One thing you can do you have your balls? You can take, one of the best ways to work on this point, right there, is to roll on a ball. And I often tell people to get a golf ball because it's smaller and harder than these rubber balls. But the rubber balls are good. I would say if you think you need to use this point, or just because it's good for everybody really, you should roll it like 50 times, not just for a second, but put your body weight on it. Do it standing up and roll hard. Like I said, your feet are extremely tough. So I prefer a golf ball if you really have an issue. This is also excellent for plantar fasciitis and hamstring tension. You can release your whole spine and hamstrings with this one point. Also very calming and grounding. So you can, but don't just do it 3 times. Do it like 50 times. You have to count on each foot, same amount. Okay. There's a picture of it. You can also press into it. If you're sitting here listening to a boring lecture, you can press into kidney 1 and hold it, make massage, and make little circles. Okay, some other points on the kidney pathway. So these are on the inner part, inner ankle bone, big toe side. And it goes up like this. Now, kidney 2, I'm going to show you kidney 2 first. There's a bump here. This bone sticks out. That's the navicular bone. I think I have a better picture of it here. Yeah, it's right here. See this bone sticking out? And that is kind of feels like a burning sensation. And that's because it's a fire point. And it helps restore the adrenals. So if you have deep exhaustion, this is a good point for that. Sorry. I think my opinion is you have to push hard enough to feel something. But then some people are more subtle and they can just lightly hold it and it does something with consciousness. But I push hard. And then kidney 3, I'm going to go up to where the medial malleolus is and the Achilles tendon. See, right in between that point and this tendon, there's an empty space. And you can press into that empty space. Kidney 3 called Great Ravine. Kidney 2 is Blazing Valley, like fire. And then this is the Great Ravine, which it feels like kind of a ravine. Sorry, I have fingernails. And this is one of the main points to build the energy of the kidney. So you want to do both sides, but you can notice if one side is tighter than the other or feels more tender. This is good for all of those things. I'm going to send you this whole lecture, so don't worry. You'll get all of this written down. And then kidney 6 is a really powerful point, kind of on a deeper level. It relates to the extraordinary vessels. And it's, if you find this bone, there's a little hole right under it. And you can see that in here, it's right here in this white circle. And you might feel like a nerve sensation there. And shining sea, we did this at the beginning. And so it's like an ocean, and it brings this water, the yin energy in the whole body. So it's good for infertility. And also any dryness in the body, maybe from menopause also, this is a good point. Dry constipation or anxiety, night sweats. Night sweats is like dehydration of the body also happens often in menopause. Thank you. Okay, and then kidney 9 we did in the sequence. And then flex your foot, other way. No, yeah, that way. You were right. Point your toe. Okay, so when you point the toe, then the calf muscle, you can find the bottom of it easily. Okay, you can relax. And then right under there is a point that I think it can be really tender. Let me show you this. So here's your calf muscle, and kidney 9 is like right here. So it's kind of where the tendon attaches into the gastroc muscle. And this is good for, see, spirit disorders, anger, cursing, mania. And also, but I like to use this for spine, pelvic floor tension also. But it detoxes the emotions. So that's good for crazy people. I use it on myself all the time. Okay, kidney 27. It's the last one we'll learn on the kidney. Oh, we have plenty of time. Okay. I can slow down. I can relax. Kidney 27. So you see there's a lot of points running up the front of the rib cage right here. And many of them have to do with the heart, actually, the spirit in the heart. But this one is nice for, I think it helps relax your shoulders and neck, but opens the chest and good for anxiety. And you want to find the hole. So maybe if you pull your shoulders up and forward a little bit, you can really feel where the collarbone attaches to the sternum, that joint there, and then press right under it. So not on the collarbone, but right under it, see? And you can press straight in or a little bit like the arrows show here towards the center. But you're pressing into the edge of the bone, really. And you'll feel like a rubbery kind of connective tissue there. Take your time and press this for a second. And then breathe. See if you feel any changes happening as you press there. Okay. The bladder pathway is one of the longest pathways. I think it's the longest pathway. And so it has a lot of points. It has 67 points. It kind of looks like the central nervous system or the large nerves. It kind of mirrors that, like up over the brain. It goes through the brain, follows the spinal cord down, and even the sympathetic chains. It has 4 parts here. See, 2 on each side. It divides in half and runs down in 2 rows or 2 lines down each side of the spine. So there's 4 tracks going down the spine, going down the back. And then it kind of follows the largest nerve, the sciatic nerve, like that. So it's just like the kidney, it has a lot to do with the nerves in the body and the bones. I forgot to mention that. Kidney is related to hormones, nerves, bones, and also bladder, same thing. Still talking about fear and water element. Consciousness too, because it's the brain. So here's the myofascial pathway or the sinew channel. And we use these postures. See, a simple forward fold. See, this guy's good. He has his face pressed into his shins. Some people do it with their head sticking up, and then it doesn't really release the whole pathway. But here you can see it starts in his eyes. It goes up over his head, down the back of the neck like this, all the way down the hamstrings, all the way down into the little toe. So this is a really good stretch of the whole pathway. This is nice to open the hamstring too. We did that one. And then the points. So this is kind of on the opposite side of the kidney. And so you find the outer ankle bone. So bladder ends in the little toe. And you can just paint your little toe. There's a point on the edge of the toenail, outer edge of the toenail. And that people actually use that to turn a fetus if it's upside down. I don't know if that's really true. They definitely use it. I guess it works. They burn moxa right here, and it supposedly helps. And then, but you can press all along the outer edge of the foot. So you're not pressing on the top or the bottom, but right on the edge, right into the edge of that bone. And all of this is bladder. You're going to feel a lot of tender points there along the side. But then once you get up to here, kind of like the kidney, okay, right under the ankle bone, there's a hole. And you can press deep into that. That's called ghost path. I think that's the alternative name. I think it's called extending vessel, but it's also called ghost path. This is just good for the whole spine and back, neck, everything. But it has to do with the nervous system too, so it calms the mind. And then bladder 60, just like kidney 3, you're going to find the outer ankle bone and the Achilles tendon, and then there's a little space, so you can pinch them at the same time. You can get bladder 60 out here and kidney 3 on the other side, and just pinch it. And you can pinch and hold. It's actually quite soothing to do that. I think it is. And so, but that's good for your spine. In acupuncture, some people stick a needle all the way through, but it does not feel very good. But it works. This stuff really works. I don't know what I would do without it. It's very liberating to be able to heal yourself, and it's very exciting to be able to help other people relieve something that they didn't think that they could change. Okay, bladder 58. Now you can do this on yourself. Look, first find it. Just find it. So we have kidney 9. We already found kidney 9 is right over here, but this one's on the other side, under the bottom of the calf muscle. I like to do it like this, because then you don't have to use your finger strength, and you can just press that point on your knee, on your opposite knee. Most people have a knot there. If you take time to find the knot, and then that, if you can release that knot, it's going to help your back. This is one of the main points we use for back pain, actually. I use it all the time. And even pain here in the sacroiliac joint, in the SI joint, can be coming from all the way down here. That's the trigger point system. It's a different system, but it's very similar. Okay, that's good for everything. Headaches, sciatica, all the bladder channel. These are all bladder channel issues. So you can use your finger or cross your leg. Now, we already did these, right? Okay. This is a very useful point for lower back pain. Also has an effect on abdominal distension. So you're going to take a ball for this one. It's hard to, you can press on it. You can kind of, you can find it like this and just press with your thumbs into this. I think of it as the gluteus medius muscle right here. But it's much more effective to put a ball here. So here's the SI joint, and the point is kind of right outside the SI joint here. It's not a place that people usually think of to press, even though it's intense. Most people many people who have lower back pain, they actually have pain here, and in their mind it registers as lower back pain, but this is where it's coming from. And so if you have lower back pain, you should always try this point and test it out and see if that's where it's coming from. And if it is, then work on it a lot. And so Heather, can you see Heather is laying on the ball? And if you're going to lay on the ball, you can just lay, but that can be kind of intense. Move back and forth a little bit. Just roll a little bit, half an inch side to side, and then that helps. But you don't want to put too much pressure on a point. I'm saying on the points where you use your body weight like this. If it's really tight, if you lay all your body weight into it, it won't relax. So you have to get the right amount of pressure that it's not just like resisting. Remember that tiger. So you don't want to punch the tiger. You want to gently soothe, but move the energy. Okay. So you'll notice many of the points, like when we get to the stomach also and along the spine, they have an effect locally, sure, but also they can refer back to front. So here, if you have tension here, you can get pain in the lower abdomen, pain and tension in the lower abdomen. So sometimes if your back hurts, you should work on the front. If your front hurts, you should work on the back. Now you can see the 4 pathways of the bladder meridian. And then it kind of goes into the sacrum. There's a whole bunch of points on the sacrum. And we don't do them in this 12-hour, but that's where we hit when we do the slapping. You're hitting your sacrum and you're affecting all these points. See? Now we're going to look at these points along the spine. Okay, so if you follow your spinal muscles, there's a large ridge of spinal muscle right next to your spine. That's easy to feel especially if you do yoga. You can feel those muscles stand out. And then a little further out, there's another ridge, a small, thin ridge. Or maybe you feel like some fibers, like multiple ridges of thin muscle fibers. And so the inner line of the bladder, which is what we're mostly working on right now, is where these organ points are that we'll talk about. And they're on the big ridge of muscle, okay? And then this outer line of the bladder meridian, see the 2 outer lines? That's out here on these stringy fibers, okay? So closer to the spine is the large ridge, and these points are in the center of the large ridge of muscle that you feel, or the ropey muscle that runs right along the spine. Right at the peak of that ropey muscle is this inner line points. Okay, so this is a posture that helps stretch the bladder meridian. There again, you can see the back extensors. And so here's Tanya. Is Tanya here? I think she's one of the assistant teachers. She's gonna come at the end. I mean, the private teachers. I'm not gonna call it assistant. So the shoe points mean like transport because it brings energy. And these are the points that correspond to the organs. So this is unique to the bladder meridian. The other meridians don't have this. But because the bladder meridian is kind of like the nervous system, it's kind of also like the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, which controls the organs. Okay, so then the points along here are kind of like related to the sympathetic nervous system as it controls the organs and moves out of the spine, if you know about the anatomy. Anyway, so the points are similar to where the organs are located. Up here, above the diaphragm, you have lungs, pericardium, and heart. That makes sense. The lungs are the highest organ, so that's the highest point. And then pericardium and heart are kind of, heart point is basically right behind the heart. And then you skip down a little bit, and the liver, gallbladder, that makes sense. Spleen and stomach is below that. And then triple wormer we'll talk about later. And kidneys, the kidney points are right at the bottom edge of the kidney. Okay, you have large intestine is down here. That makes sense too. So you can see And you can use these, the cool thing is that, here's another picture, you can use these points diagnostically. So you can say, by the way, they're on both sides the same. They're not just on one side like this picture. They're on both sides. But you can just roll on this ball, which you should do in a second. And that way you'll know. You're gonna no, you need two. You need the two. So in order to work on these points on your spine, it's nice to have the two balls together in the mesh thing, or you can also put them in a sock and tie it up tight, and then like wrap a cord around the center. So it's like two balls that are held together like this, and then your spine fits in the groove in the middle. And then you can just roll like she's doing, all the way down to the sacrum, and then all the way, you gotta get your hair out of the way, roll all the way up to the top of your back, and try to find out where it's tightest. Where are the tender points? Very simple. Just like, oh, I didn't realize my right kidney area is so tight or tender. I didn't realize my left side heart point is extremely tight. Like, wow, that's actually where my shoulder pain is coming from. You can find a lot of information. So do this, and then take that sensations and look at the chart and say, where do I think that point was? And notice if it's on one side more than the other. A lot of times the point for the heart is going to be much more tender on the left side. And then the kidneys could go either way. If you have your right kidney too tight, it can relate to the yang energy, or the left kidney yin energy, okay? And you can find out, and this is also related to emotions. So you can look at anger is going to more affect the liver. And you might have a liver tension at the liver point. That doesn't mean you have liver disease. I mean, you could, but probably you don't. You probably don't have hepatitis. You're probably angry, because we're looking at chi stagnation. We're not even going to talk about serious diseases. We're talking about stress and tension and emotions, which is very real. And by the way, it's the main problem that people have. Now, most people, if they eat right and move a little bit, they don't really have any serious illness. But they still suffer. They have pain, and it's caused by chi, emotions. So you can look at this and say, maybe, your lung point, and maybe you're not aware that you have some sadness, or maybe you're aware and now you know why your upper back hurts. Okay, so you can also put the ball in the sock like this and work on the upper points. It's sometimes difficult to get the ball up that high. And we're not really going to look at these in this training, but you can look at them if you want to, or if you notice tenderness. If you use that ball, the two balls in the Science of Self balls, then you're going to be running along this. But this line is a little further out, so you're not necessarily going to hit it with the rubber balls. Yeah, maybe you could spread them more apart. I don't know if that works. But you might have to reach around your back and feel, because they're a little further out. But it's just kind of interesting to look at the spirits, and we don't have time to go into the spirits, but we do that in level 1 and talk about the different aspects of the mind that are arising from each organ, and then it can create, like the kidney is willpower, and then that point is a little further out in your lower back. Basically, it's the QL muscle. So if you push into the QL muscle, it could be purely physical. It could have this deeper spiritual aspect related to the willpower, okay? And then the intellect, or the hun, is like the drive, the creative drive. Let's look at a couple more points and then we'll finish at 10 minutes. Bladder 10 we did in the sequence. And look how close it is to the center. So you have other points out. This is a gallbladder point out here. There's another gallbladder point here. But anyway, bladder 10 is close to the center. So you're really pressing into the spine, into the transverse processes of the spine, right up under the base of the skull. It's called celestial pillar. And just like many of the kidney and bladder points, it calms the mind because it's related to the nervous system. Relax the nervous system, and it relaxes the entire spine. This is good for headaches too. If somebody has lower back pain, I usually use this point in combination with some other points, like the bladder 58 in the calf. And so you can do that. You can do it in the posture like here, where Heather's folding forward. It's also nice to do it sitting up. You can dig your thumbs into the base of your skull, wrap your fingers around, and then just lift your chin up. Lift your chin, and then let your thumbs sink deep into the base of your skull. So we covered a lot of information really fast. I want to show you the intro to the questions. You should read your manual. Just read the whole thing because it has a description and an explanation of every question. You're gonna understand things a lot more if you take the time to read through it, make some notes. But you should take these questions and answer them for yourself, and because you need to do that anyway, and that way if you do that exercise before next Wednesday, then you'll know more about the questions. You'll have already thought about the questions, and if you read the manual, then you can find out some interesting things about. Maybe after you answer them, then you can look in the manual and see some information that will help you understand whatever issue you might have. And we'll go over these quickly, and you'll learn more about these in your private session. So go ahead and answer them for yourself before next week. It's a lot of questions, and some of them can seem kind of repetitive. But each one, so if you journal, you'll be journaling for yourself. You'll see as you start writing, maybe one question sounds similar to the last one, but it brings up a different answer, a whole different angle on the same topic. The most important question is just like, what do you want to work on? What is your pain and suffering right now? Because everybody has something, even if it's minor. And so you start with that. Okay, any burning question? Any questions from the chat box that I should talk about? What did I leave out? No, that's next time. So I'll send you an email with your teacher assignments, and that's it. Do you guys have any questions? We only have 5 minutes. Nobody?
Can I ask a question, Rose?
Sure.
Hi, it's Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, how are you? You're talking about a lot of the points, and particularly for me, the gallbladder. I just had my gallbladder removed, and I want to know if all the other things that are part of the gallbladder points still remain in the body, even though you don't have the physical gallbladder.
Yeah, that's a really excellent question. Yeah, so this is
maybe not everyone agrees on this, but yeah, the energy pathway is still there. So when you have the gallbladder organ has a problem like you had, it's going to create tension, it's stagnation in the whole pathway. Like you probably had some pain, right? On the right side of your body.
Some. I have a lot of pain in a lot of parts of my body, but I definitely can see correlations.
Okay. Like it's common to have like right shoulder pain.
I do. I still have it.
And anyway, so it'll create problem in the pathway. And when you get the organ removed, the pathway is still there. The energy is still going to move through the pathway, probably better actually, because you don't have that blockage anymore. I mean, there's some negatives to having your gallbladder removed, but if it's blocked, then you have to have it removed. So the energy is going to flow better actually. The pathway is still there. I mean, I'm certain of that in my mind because I know the body, the energy body can adapt to anything. The physical body is limited. It can have injuries that can never heal or just distortions, like something like scoliosis. It's a distortion of the physical body. The energy body might be perfect. The flow of energy through the spine and the central channel might be perfect. We don't know. And they might have less suffering than somebody whose spine is straight and has tension and chi blockages. Okay. So the energy body is highly adaptable. Kind of like the connective tissue too. Same idea. If you understand, connective tissue is infinitely adaptable. It changes. The nervous system is not, the bones are not. They can heal, they change, but not infinitely. Connective tissue, infinite. Okay, good question. I love that question.
Yeah, I had a feeling also. It feels like I took out some of the toxicity, which allows other things to flow better. You know, so I visualize it that way.
Yes, beautiful. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do a little dedication and then we'll be done. May all that we learned and practiced, studied, all of this knowledge be used in the highest purposes. May any mistakes be forgotten. May all beings everywhere be happy, be at peace, be awakened, including us. May we help each other along the way. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti.